Chapter 17. She woke with a jolt. The phone by the bed was ringing. Even in her bleary state, Isla was hoping it was Steve asking her out for playtime. Where was tonight's adventure going to take them? She picked up without hesitation. Hello? Isla, it's Jeremy here. Listen, you're coming, aren't you? We're going soon. Just let me finish this drink. I've no idea what it is, but it's a dream, and then off we go. In her post-nap grogginess, Isla struggled to follow his high-speed jabbering. Jeremy! Oh, okay, hold on. I fell asleep. What did you say? You did get my note, though, right? You've got the time and place. We're leaving in 10. Meet you in reception. Bye! Jeremy seemed to be only interested in things that navigated towards him, and the E of his bye seemed to last forever, cutting through her semi-awake fuzz. He sounded pissed and much more manic than Isla remembered, which took some doing. The long day off must have already caught up with him, or maybe he was still on the go from last night. 10 minutes was enough to get herself presentable after a splash, brush, and a change out of the now crumpled clothes she'd been sleeping in. Isla readied herself for another stab at New York by night. The lift door opened and she caught sight of a familiar, albeit weary face across the lobby. Steve looked bedraggled and absolutely shattered, but to her delight he'd clocked her already and was heading her way. Yes, he doesn't hate me. Their faces simultaneously lit up. But the moment of happy recognition was interrupted before a word had been exchanged, as a third, less welcome face imposed himself once again. Isla, over here, we're about to leave. Jeremy was waving like an excitable child at the fun fair. Give me 2 minutes, please, Jeremy. Just 2. He turned on his heels, aggressively clenching his buttocks in a quiet hissy fit that suggested he was not best pleased with being kept waiting by the new girl. Isla was too irritated to care. She was eager to speak to Steve. Hey, Isla, you're off out then? I guess I'm lucky to get a whole 2 minutes with someone in such demand. I guess that must mean I've missed out on you this evening. Are you just getting back? That's a long day. Are you okay? You look like shit. Cheers. I feel worse than I look. It's been odd, and the bad news is that our night out in England will not be for a while. Oh, why is that? You remember my breakfast meeting? All my plans were changed in my first meeting of the whole trip. All plans off, all new plans made. Mental. Any chance of me getting home anytime soon is now gone. My band will now be coming out sometime in the next 2 days, and then we'll be going straight on the road. Until when? You won't believe me, but the truth is Christmas, and my bloody visa only runs for a month. Christ, I hadn't even thought of that. Steve reached into his pocket and pulled out a piece of paper with many scribbles on it. Patting himself down for a pen, he found one and added another barely legible scrawl to his long list. That's nearly 3 months. Are you okay? What happens during that time? Isla smiled supportively and made the right noises, but she had no idea what he was going through. She could only hope their routes would collide somewhere on this side of the Atlantic so that they could meet up again. Steve was not the only one who could plan. Why are you smiling? I thought you wanted to meet up again, he asked inquisitively. Of course I do, and I'm so sorry things are mental for you, but remember, Steve, I'm going to be working this route for ages. I'm sure between us we can sort something out. Steve needed that. He was comforted by the idea that he wouldn't have to wait until Christmas to see her again. He hadn't called people at home to let them know he would not be back at the end of the week, but talking to Isla made it that much more real. He was glad it was her he was talking to. Her kind, warm smile was what he needed at the end of an exhausting day. His statty, overtired brain wandered back to the fact that he was underprepared for his evolving situation. He hadn't brought enough clothes to last more than a week, let alone 12 of them. A few nights' worth of clothing for September in New York wouldn't be suitable for an October day in New Orleans, let alone Chicago in mid-December. He'd need clothing for all weather conditions. He made another note to the lengthening list on the piece of paper. Clothing. What am I even thinking about clothing for? Here was a gorgeous lady with whom he'd spent a terrific evening, and he was thinking about going shopping. I know Jeremy is pacing like a caged animal over there, but I've got enough energy in me for a drink if you're free. Jeremy was now jumping up and down as if he needed an urgent wee. Isla knew she couldn't escape him for a second night. You know I have to do this with them. I wish I didn't, but if I don't, I'm likely to get a reputation for being a standoffish bitch, and I can't work in this game for long with that kind of cloud hanging over me. I'm not off until tomorrow lunchtime, just in case you fancy breakfast with me. She pulled a begging face, smiling enough for Steve to know she was taking the piss. I'd love to, but it will have to be early. I can't move my first meetings around, but give my room a bell when you wake up and we can grab breakfast together. If not, here's my details. Steve held up his business card, which Isla enthusiastically snapped from his fingers. You'll find a way to get hold of me through one of those London numbers, or by email. We can make some new plans. Really? Breakfast it is. Fantastic. Go and get some rest, Steve. You look like you could use it. Having pocketed the card, Isla leaned in to kiss his cheek. Steve wrapped an arm around her waist, giving her an affectionate squeeze in response. There was a memorable energy to the embrace. Eileen's colleagues had given up gesturing for her to get a move on and watched their newest colleague in action. Jeremy assumed he knew everything, and loudly whispered as much to those who were within earshot. "Night then," they said in tandem, both smiling. They turned and went their separate ways, holding on to the same regret that the evening was not the one they wanted.